Hello, welcome back to the Brother Blog. If you haven't already, take a look at some of our other videos. Check out our channel. It's 5 hours till college football season begins, so we're obviously going to have to throw out our predictions. And without any delay, let's kick it off with the Pac-10.
Alright, so the Pac-10 this year, I'm going to pick the Oregon Ducks to be the Pac-10 champs for back-to-back seasons. I think LaMichael James is a big part of it. I think even with the loss of Masoli, I think Oregon gets through it. I think they beat Oregon State in that Civil War game, and that puts them over the top as conference champs.
I think that, like last season, the Oregon State game, the Civil War, is going to be the conference championship game. But instead of having Oregon winning, I have Jacquizz Rodgers and James Rodgers pulling it out of the hat, and they win the Pac-10 this season. Oregon State Beavers.
Alright, so now look at the SEC conference. And the SEC obviously usually sends a national title team there. This year, I have Alabama winning the SEC yet again. However, I think they will lose a game along the way. I think that they get to that title game and they play Florida in the SEC title again for the third straight year. I think Alabama pulls it out yet again, but they do have one loss. So you never know if they'll be able to get to the title or not, and we'll discuss our title teams later on.
For my SEC prediction, I think that the SEC is really a toss-up this season. And I'm going to have to say that Florida wins the SEC this season. And I don't think that they're going to be the best team in the SEC. I actually see this season's SEC championship not being Alabama in the title, but I see Arkansas, the Razorbacks. They got a great passing game. And I think in Week 4 they can knock off Alabama and maybe one loss down the line. But even if, the tiebreaker is going to go to the Razorbacks. So I see them going to the SEC title. Really, Florida has no competition. So I see those two going to the title. And I think Florida knocks them off in the SEC title. I think that if at this point Arkansas can win, then they could potentially go to the national title.
Then look at the Big Ten in our conference, who will be expanding next year. And I'm going to pick Ohio State to win the Big Ten title. It's kind of hard to pick against them. You know, they seem to always win the Big Ten. And Terrell Pryor is going to be a big part of that. Iowa and Wisconsin are two tough games for them, but I think they get the job done. I think they avoid the upsets, and I think they go undefeated this year, and they win the Big Ten title.
I also have Ohio State winning the Big Ten, but I don't think that they're going to go undefeated. I think that they are going to lose to Miami, and I also think that they're going to lose to Wisconsin or Iowa. But Wisconsin or Iowa will also lose another Big Ten game. That way, or they will lose two, and that way the Ohio State Buckeyes still prevail in the Big Ten despite a loss. The next conference we're going to talk about is the Big East. And the Big East has really lost its charm. And this season, I have what I think a lot of people can predict is the Pittsburgh Panthers winning the Big East. Deion Lewis is a great running back. True freshman last season, almost ran for 1,800 yards. I think he ran for 1,799, so close enough. But I see Pittsburgh being the Big East champions this season.
I also put Pittsburgh as the Big East champs. Don't be surprised if Rutgers or UConn come along and be a surprise team. You know, they're very underrated, and they could do some damage. West Virginia, too, obviously. But I think Pittsburgh gets the job done this year, and they win the Big East. Our next conference is the ACC. And this conference is really another big-time toss-up. And in my conference championship game, I will have the Florida State Seminoles and the Miami Hurricanes. The big rivalry they're going to play in the conference title. And I'm going to put Ja'Cory Harris in Miami with the upset. They get the win there, and they beat Florida State, and they win the ACC.
I also have the wide right, wide left rivalry in the ACC title game. And I also have the Miami Hurricanes winning the ACC title. I think that with Ja'Cory Harris, Greg Cooper, Travis Benjamin, I think that they have what it takes to be ACC champs and even potentially national champs. The next conference that we're going to talk about is the Big 12. And the Big 12, like all years, is going to be exciting. And I think that in my conference game, I have Nebraska obviously going. And one team that really isn't looked at as much as the other teams, I have the Texas A&M Aggies going. I think that Gerard Johnson has really developed. I think he can lead this offense to the Big 12 title. Do I think that he can win it? No. I think that Nebraska's defense is always a powerhouse, and I think that they're going to prevail and go to the Fiesta Bowl, Nebraska.
I look at the Big 12, and I also see Nebraska getting there. I think they have a very easy road to get to the title game, and I see them playing Oklahoma. And Oklahoma and Nebraska, that's another old rivalry, and I'm going to pick Nebraska to win the game. I think Ndamukong Suh's loss is really painful, and they could be a lot better with him, despite the fact that he's defense.
House of Spears.
Yes, but yeah, I still pick them to win the Big 12. Big 12. Yeah. Big 12. I think Nebraska gets the job there and done there, and they're Big 12 champs again. So we move on. We're not going to look at the RBCS games. We're just going to look at the big one. That's the BCS national title game. Who do we think's going to go? Who do we think's going to win?
I think it's going to be another exciting year of college football, and I think that this is the year, like I said in my BCS Busters vid, that Boise State runs the table and makes it to the national title. I also have the ACC champs. Even though they have a very tough road, I think that with one loss, the schedule strength will still be enough for the Miami Hurricanes to make it into the national title.
I look at mine. Well, who you give?
So Boise State and Miami. And my winner is finally blue and orange, Boise State Broncos.
All right, well, I look at mine, and the Buckeyes, 12-0, they will get to the national title, and they will play Kellen Moore and the Boise State Broncos. I think the Broncos make it. I hope they do. And I think that Chris Peterson, Kellen Moore, and that Boise State defense, which is very underrated, get the job done. They win the national title. It'll really be an incredible Cinderella story, but I think Boise State is going to be the 2010-2011 college football national champions.
Yeah, Boise State, the defense, to your point, is very underrated. You look at that Fiesta Bowl game last year, it's practically the same defense coming back. So it should be a fun game to watch, how they can shut down Terrell Pryor or Ja'Cory Harris.
Yeah, it would be great. The Virginia Tech game will be very exciting, too. Coming up on
very
Monday.
Exciting.
So those are our predictions for this year. It starts in 4 hours and 18 minutes. 4 hours and 18 minutes. So get ready for the kickoff. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Check out our channel.